That certain look on Kevin Newman's face these days is best described as contentment. At 57, he's as healthy as a cricket, still trains his beloved harness horses, and has the support of a devoted wife, 2 daughters, and 5 grandchildren. In fact, younger daughter Julie has inherited the harness racing bug and has already driven in a few races. Nowadays, Kevin channels all of his time and expertise into the preparation of the horses. That expertise has been developed over a period of 44 years, beginning with an after-school job in a Western Australian trotting stable. He was Australia's youngest licensed race driver at 16 and showed early signs of a rare affinity with horses. At the peak of his form, KB Newman became a role model for many of his contemporaries.
High praise is not enough for the man. He's just such a tremendous man in the game.
And as a race driver?
The best.
Probably one of the best ambassadors for the game we've had. Probably the greatest horseman we've had.
Oh, there was none better.
Kevin still holds a race driver's licence, but rarely uses it.
There's a time to say halt, I think, you know, and from my experience down through the years as well, those drivers that I most admired, and I don't have to name them, but people that I did admire as drivers and so forth, it was evident to me as they progressed down through the years, reflexes suffered.
For more than 30 years, Kevin Newman's reflexes were lightning fast. In that time, he won 1,500 races on all tracks and for a decade completely dominated the scene at Sydney's famous Harold Park. He won 8 drivers' premierships, 10 trainers' titles, and with 533 wins and 2 dead heats, still holds the Harold Park record. The 500-win milestone earned him a handsome trophy, the plaudits of the crowd, and a kiss from wife Beryl.
The spotlight didn't appeal all that much to me. What appealed to me was the challenge. And I'd programmed to be at some place on the premiership table at a certain time of the year and knowing what horses I had backing me up. And it was a challenge to just be the leading the premiership at the conclusion of a season. That was what appealed to me. I don't miss the fact that, you know, you had your photo in the paper in the morning or anything like that.
Here's Koala Frost challenging strongly as Newman gets to work with the reins.
Among the fabulous 500 were 3 of Kevin's favourites. The dashing Koala Frost, the brilliant Mitchell Victory,
But it's a very easy win and down to the line now. Mitchell Victory runs right away.
and the horse to get Kevin's vote as the best he ever drove, the amazing Halwes.
And the others are all out of the race. Halwes runs home an easy winner. He's beaten the light. It's just ahead of the light. It's close.
I think a lot of things go into making up a great horse. Speed, stamina, manners. He had all of that. He raced light, in fact. He raced a lot lighter than I would have liked to see him race, but he was such a tough horse. You could work him to excess and he could cop a hard run. His powers of recuperation were amazing.
During that golden era, Newman featured regularly in the sports pages, as Julie found out at school on one occasion.
We were just fooling around and I said, oh, Paul Newman's my uncle. And this fella said, oh, Paul Newman's your uncle. I said, yes, he really is. Paul Newman's my uncle. Oh, I suppose Kevin Newman's your father. And I had to laugh.
During your golden years as a reinsman, fairness to your fellow driver seemed to be paramount in your mind.
The cardinal sin, of course, of harness racing driving is to take a horse's front end, giving him, if the horse is against the fence, and he has no place to go, he can't avoid you. And he's going to run at the fence or you're going to bring him down. To me, there is no excuse for that.
Newman expects stand-in drivers like Wayne Innes to observe a simple rule.
I don't make tell people how to drive for me. I make recommendations as to how I think the race will be run, and they, of course, they're capable enough to know that, you know, there are certain things you don't do. If you're going to do that, you're going to be beaten.
As a trainer, look at the winners he's had, John. One of the best we've ever seen. I hope that some of the young fellas come along as good as he, because it'll do the game good.
It didn't matter where he positioned his horses. He was always, at some stage of the race, his horses had a chance of winning.
You know, he's had 2-year-olds, 3-4-olds a lot, so he's, you know, he's an all-round horseman, you know.
What is it about this animal that people just have a love affair with?
Well, it has been referred to, harness racing has been referred to as a disease, you know. Like, I mean, if you're bitten by the harness racing bug, you're an advocate of it until the day you die. You know, it must be the most resilient industry in the world because it's had that many knocks and it just keeps bouncing back up again, and it never ceases to amaze me.